Vector online. Case file open. This one is the heavyweight. A routine software update signed by the vendor, trusted by everyone who installed it. Inside that update, a backdoor planted at the source. Around 18,000 organizations downloaded it, including United States government agencies and most of the Fortune 500. The vendor was SolarWinds. The product was Orion. The operation has a name you already know. This is the supply chain attack, walked stage by stage, with the defender view at every hop. Everything here is public record, government advisories, vendor disclosures, court filings, and published incident analysis. Debrief begins now. Stage 1. Reconnaissance. Long before any malware existed, the operators studied their target, and the target was not the victims. It was the supplier. According to the public investigations, the threat actor, attributed by the United States government to the Russian Foreign Intelligence Service, spent months inside SolarWinds before touching the build system. They learned the development pipeline, the release schedule, the signing process. Defender view. Recon against a vendor looks like nothing to the vendor's customers because it happens upstream of them. For the supplier itself, the visible artifacts were subtle, unusual account activity and access patterns inside the corporate network. This stage is nearly silent. That is the point of attacking the supply chain. Stage 2. Access. And here is the masterpiece, if you can call it that. The operators did not hack the finished software. They compromised the build environment, the machinery that turns source code into a shipping product. A custom implant, later named SUNSPOT by investigators, watched the build server. When it saw an Orion build starting, it swapped in malicious source code, then removed every trace when the build finished. The result compiled cleanly, passed review, and was digitally signed with the company's own certificate. Defender view. This is a kill point. Build pipeline integrity is defendable. Separate the build environment from the corporate network, verify that what was built matches what is in source control, and alert on any process touching build artifacts that is not the build system itself. The capability existed. The chain was killable right here, before a single customer was touched. Stage 3. Discovery. The poisoned update, carrying the backdoor investigators named SUNBURST, shipped to customers in the spring of 2020. And then it did something most malware never does. Nothing. For roughly 2 weeks after installation, the backdoor stayed dormant. When it finally woke, it checked its environment carefully, looking for analysis sandboxes, security tooling, and forensic software. If anything looked wrong, it went back to sleep. Defender view. Dormancy defeats sandbox detonation, because the sandbox gives up before the malware wakes. But the wake-up call itself was visible. SUNBURST's first move was a domain name lookup to a command domain, disguised as normal Orion telemetry. DNS logs held the evidence the whole time. Organizations that kept and searched their DNS history could find their patient 0 to the hour. Stage 4. Privilege escalation. On networks the operators considered valuable, and only those, the backdoor delivered a second stage. From there, the play was credentials, and the crown jewel was identity infrastructure. The operators went after the systems that issue authentication tokens, stealing or forging the keys that let them mint their own credentials. Investigators called the technique a golden ticket for cloud identity. With forged tokens, they could impersonate any user, including administrators, without ever typing a password. Defender view. This is a kill point. Token signing keys are the keys to the kingdom, and they can be guarded like it, hardware security modules, short token lifetimes, and alerts on tokens with unusual properties, like long validity windows or claims that no legitimate issuer produces. Several victims caught the intrusion exactly here, because one authentication looked slightly wrong. Stage 5. Lateral movement. With forged identity, the operators moved from on-premises networks into cloud email and document systems, reading mailboxes of security teams, executives, and government officials. They were not loud. They used legitimate administrative interfaces, the same consoles real admins use, and they routed their traffic through servers inside the victim's own country to avoid geographic alarms. Defender view. This is a kill point. Impossible travel rules, new application consents, mailbox access patterns, and service principal behavior are all logged in major cloud platforms. The signals existed. The hard part was that each signal, alone, looked like an admin doing admin things. Correlation is what kills this stage. An identity that signs in from new infrastructure, then immediately touches mail it never touched before, is not an admin. It is an intruder with an admin's face. Stage 6. Impact. This was espionage, not destruction. No ransomware, no wipers, no extortion notes. The payload was quiet, sustained access to the email and documents of the United States Treasury, the Department of Justice, the Department of Homeland Security, and thousands of private companies. The operators collected intelligence for months. The damage was measured not in encrypted servers, but in what was read and by whom. Defender view. Espionage impact is the hardest stage to see because nothing breaks. The tell is volume and destination, mailbox exports, unusual data flows from collection points, and access to sensitive content from accounts that never needed it. Data does not have to leave loudly. Watch what is being gathered, not just what is leaving. Stage 7. Fallout. The operation was uncovered in December of 2020, and not by a government. A private security firm, Mandiant, then operating as FireEye, noticed something small. An employee's account had registered an unfamiliar second authentication device. That single anomaly unraveled the whole campaign. The firm traced its own breach to the Orion update, decompiled it, found SUNBURST, and published everything. Within days, an emergency directive ordered federal agencies to disconnect Orion. Defender view. This is a kill point, and it is the humbling one. The detection that broke a national-scale espionage operation was a basic identity hygiene alert. A new MFA device on an existing account. Someone looked at a small alert and refused to dismiss it. That is the whole lesson. The chain died because one analyst treated one anomaly as real. Where it dies. 4 controls, 4 chances. First, build pipeline integrity. Isolate build systems, verify output against source, and treat the build environment as crown jewel infrastructure, because to your customers, it is. Second, protect token signing keys with hardware modules and alert on tokens that look wrong, long lifetimes, strange claims, impossible issuers. Third, correlate identity signals in the cloud. New infrastructure plus new behavior equals investigation, even when each signal alone looks routine. Fourth, take small identity alerts seriously. A new MFA device on an existing account ended the largest supply chain espionage campaign in history. Your smallest alert might be holding your biggest case. Defend, detect, respond. Up to 18,000 organizations downloaded affected SolarWinds Orion updates, and every one of them received software that contained a backdoor, though only a small subset were actively targeted and exploited. It was signed by the vendor. It evaded detection for months. The backdoor was injected during the software build and packaging process, making it indistinguishable from legitimate code. That is what a supply chain attack looks like from the inside. If your software vendor is compromised, your perimeter means nothing. Follow the attack chain. A single unexpected MFA device registration on one employee account flagged at the cybersecurity firm FireEye, not a government agency. A security employee noticed it and raised the alert. and the investigation that followed uncovered a backdoor woven into a trusted software update. That investigation exposed the SolarWinds supply chain compromise, one of the largest cyber espionage campaigns of its kind, reaching government agencies and major organizations worldwide. One noticed anomaly. That is where it unraveled. Case file closed. Next debrief. An attack with no click at all. No link, no attachment, no mistake by the victim, just a message that exploits the phone the moment it arrives. The zero-click kill chain, stage by stage, and the few places it can still die. The full stories behind these case files live on our sister channel, SYB3R S0RY. Debrief complete. Go hunt.